So I grew up
Mm.
sharing rooms with step siblings and things of that nature. We had some like termites, and we had it rough. Yeah, we had it rough. We had it rough. We had it rough. I mean, it was openings in the door where rats and stuff can get in, and squirrels. It was tough, but I enjoyed that because that's all I knew. Didn't have hot water, and in Houston, my mom had all of that. So my mom was like,
Yeah.
"Son, why are you wanting to go back to that?" And I'm just like, "I only know a friend. Look, I'm a kid.
What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another episode of Flip That Switch. I'm your boy B to the Sis Naive, and we back with another episode. If you didn't get a chance to watch the previous episode, please go back and watch it. Matter of fact, before you watch this one, go back and watch that one. But today, we're going to be diving into a new episode, and we're going to be talking about really just overcoming adversity. You know, a lot of people in life, they face adversity, they go through ups and downs, challenges. Life is lifing, you know what I mean? And people sometimes just kind of get lost in the sauce and they don't know how to navigate adversity. So it's kind of what we're going to be talking about today. The guest that I have on is really no stranger to that. He's faced adversity in his life, but he's overcome a lot of it, and really he's just out here doing his thing, out here killing the game. He's really just out here grinding and getting it and really just trying to set himself. He's just out here doing his thing, living life to the fullest, out here getting it. So without further ado, let me introduce you to the episode, my boy Jaylen. What's up, man?
Man, what's good with you, bro? I appreciate you having me. Like I said earlier, man, just thankful for being on your platform, being able to, have a voice.
Absolutely,
Appreciate
absolutely. Yeah, appreciate and I appreciate you coming on, bro.
it. Yes, sir.
So Jaylen, what's good with you, man? How you doing right now?
Man, I'm blessed. I can't complain, bro. I'm an engineer right now, so I'm still kind of, in tech, and I'm also a real estate investor. So, been trying to get the properties rolling, and try to leverage that and continue to, grow on that end as well.
Absolutely. Well, that's
Yes, sir.
dope, man. And Jaylen, remind everybody how old you are.
I'm 26 years old.
Wow.
Yes,
26. And an
26. Yes,
engineer and a
sir.
real estate investor at
Yes,
26.
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
If I was doing half of that at 26, I'd be so far in life right now. That's
Hey,
awesome, man.
it took some hoop, man. It took some discipline. I've been through a lot, so it took some adversity, like you said. It hasn't been easy, bro. It hasn't been easy, but every step of the way, I've been, blessed. Give all the glory to God because He's the reason why I'm here, and I'm gonna continue to strive.
Absolutely, man. So Jaylen, talk to me a little bit. Give me a little bit about your story, man. You know, how it was coming up. First of all, where are you from?
I'm from St. Louis, Missouri. Born and raised. Uh, I grew up in St. Louis, but I also was back and forth between St. Louis and Houston. Cause mom lived in
Okay,
Houston,
okay. So
pop lived there. Yeah, it was rough. What made it rough though, B, is every year I had to toy between choosing where did I want to stay. Was it St. Louis? Was it Houston? Mind you, I'm first
yeah,
grade. Do you want to stay in Houston or do you want to stay in St. Louis? Every year my parents would make me choose because they were long distance. Every year between kindergarten through eighth grade, both parents would I would toy between what city I would go back and forth from. Whatever city I would choose to say, like let's say I say St. Louis, my mom would be sick and like, oh, you love your dad more than you love me, and it'll be like a it'll be like a real competition every year, every summer, and it got to the point where and the summertime, my mom would try to keep me some summers, or my dad would try to keep me because it'll be like they really wanted to have me or whatever like that. It would be issues over who filed me on the income tax. It would be issues over just the smallest things, which it brought so much confusion being a kid, right?
yeah,
It made it hard for me to actually focus in on sports. I was into basketball, and mainly the reason why I would always choose St. Louis over Houston. Obviously, we know Houston popping and everything now, but back in the day, like you grow up, you're used to your friends, you're used to the people that you're surrounded by early on in life, right? So as I was growing up, I just want to play ball with my boys that I grew up with. And that why be the
Yeah,
main reason. Moms didn't understand that. She'd be like, "Wow, well you just always choose them." She'd think it'll be like I got some sort of vendetta against her. So I'm like, "No, ma, I love you to death. I just this is where it's at right now as far as my so it when me going back and forth, the adversity I would have to chase would be like when I would go to Houston, everything is further apart in Houston. Everything's bigger. She wasn't on me as far as like sports and things of that nature. So I would have to find ways to get to practice and things like that. Whereas in St. Louis, I was on the ball with it. Like, so it basically it made it hard for me to really stay focused and sharp on any and everything that I wanted to do because I always had to maneuver or adjust. That's always been my life, learning how to adjust and going back and forth each year. That was pretty tough, you know. And
yeah,
I had to just, like learn to deal with it. Like, hey, this was gonna be every year. I got to deal with an uncomfortable conversation, and then I'm young, so I'm like, man, why I got to go through this? Like, you know what I'm saying? Why nobody else has to deal with this but me? My friends, they parents in one household, or they parents are up the street, so they can go and just drop their parent, kids off. Nah, with me, it was like, you about to go out of town. You're not gonna spend your next school year here, and it's just really hard to catch a rhythm. So throughout that journey and living in St. Louis, and the crazy part about living in St. Louis was I was living in the hood in St. Louis. So I grew up
mm,
sharing rooms with step siblings and things of that nature. We had some like termites, and we had it rough. Yeah, we had it rough. We had it rough. Man, it was openness in the door where rats and stuff can get in, and squirrels. It was tough, but I enjoyed that because that's all I knew. Didn't have hot water, and in Houston, my mom had all of that. So my mom was like,
yeah,
"Son, why are you wanting to go back to that?" And I'm just like, I only know what my friends look. I'm a kid, but throughout that journey, I will say, I did become closer with God. I was every day. I know we boiling our water on the hot on the sink, which a lot of families in St. Louis did that. When they didn't have water, they gonna put the water on the stove. They boiling the water. They going and they doing like 8 dumps of the pot in the water so they can get some warm water and things of that nature. So that's what I was dealing with growing up, and it just obviously it just taught me that obviously you got to be able to survive, and then obviously uh life ain't sweet, and it makes you more appreciative as you go through your journey. It makes you way more
no,
appreciative.
absolutely, bro. So let me ask you this: How often were you going back between St. Louis and Houston?
Every year I can like from kindergarten St. Louis, Houston, first grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade. It got to a point where I knew in high school I spent my whole high school in St. Louis. um
Okay,
the reason why I spent my whole life because I told I'm like, Ma, I can't even like my dream is to go play, ball professionally, and I can't do that touring between two states. And she didn't want to
right.
hear it, but obviously I felt like just the chemistry, and then family of mine, they was coaching me and things of that nature. So I'm like, man, this is I just need to stay one spot and lock in and focus. And I couldn't do that and going back and forth because they had their own issues. Parents sometimes when they're not in cohesion, it screws the kid up. So I was like, man, y'all screwing me up.
Chaotic. Yep.
Y'all screwing me up right now. I
Yeah.
can't lock in. I gotta lock in. So yeah, I had to make the
Yeah.
tough call, and she wasn't happy with it. But I'm like, Ma, I catch Texas on the back end right now. I need to lock in with St. Louis and it's crazy because looking back on it, obviously you look back and see like all the opportunities Houston had and everything. I'm like, man, maybe Houston might have been, but at the time she didn't take like I wouldn't say she wouldn't take my sports and stuff like that I had going on serious. It just was hard. Practice is 45 minutes away in Houston. I can't get you there every
Mhm.
day like I want to. Whereas in St. Louis, my people's like, hey, yeah, we get you there in 5 minutes. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, and I was committed. Like that was my life. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, man, I gotta be somewhere where I'm committed and I gotta be locked. Laser sharp. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's crazy you say that because what's funny is you had a passion, like hooping was your passion, right?
Mhm.
And so
Absolutely.
you were willing to go through the adversity and tough times of being in St. Louis and your environment just so you could hoop and just so you could be with your friends. And like you said,
Absolutely.
you a
That's all
kid,
I cared
you
about.
don't know no better. You know what I'm saying? You don't know what's going on, but you, you like, man, look, I don't care about these rats, these roaches, these termites. I'm gonna be out here
Yeah.
hooping, and
And
you
what
probably
people
and go ahead.
no, no, I'll let you finish, let you
I
finish.
was about to say, in your mind, you probably like, shoot, if I go to the league, I'm gonna get out of this situation anyway.
Oh, no, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. And what's crazy is people don't realize when you hear these stories about all of these different things, you don't realize the bonds that you have with the people in the house. You don't realize the stories that happen. Like your connections become even deeper and closer when you're going through something of that magnitude in that position with the people that you're in the position with. I got step siblings, like, man, it was tough. Like one of the people that I live with, they had killed somebody. One of my step siblings had killed somebody and had to go do life. They ran back in the house where I was staying at, and the laws was following them, and they ran to the first thing they did. This is the funny thing about it. They ain't tell nobody in the house that they were getting chasing up. They ran and got a gallon of juice and drunk the juice, drunk it all the way down, and next thing you know, the police raiding the house, coming to get them. We gotta come get you. I'm like, whoa, and I'm 7, 8 seeing this, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, wow. But they were doing what they was trying to do. I guess the guy at the time was trying to rob somebody or whatever he was trying to do because we were living poor. So he was trying
Yeah,
to go out and do what we were doing so he can make a living, but he went about it the wrong way. And I sit back and be like, wow, dude, to live in that situation, to have a murderer in my house and not turn out to be like, that is crazy to me. You know what I'm
wild.
saying? That is
Yeah,
wild. That is wild. So I had to sit back and like say like God was really shielding me throughout this journey. And I'm like, that is yeah, that's the truth. That man, dude was killing people. Like he was like 4, 5 bodies, and then they caught him. Now he's still to this day is in jail, and it's funny because his brother and I still friends on Facebook. So I don't know, the relationship's still cool between the other siblings, but yeah, I'm like, wow, this is crazy. So yeah, I've been through it,
man.
through the
So you was
storm.
dealing with, you was
Like we
dealing
are.
with a true murderer, bro.
Yeah, I live with a true murderer. That's a true story. I live with a true murderer. And I was young, and I didn't, and I'm like, this is something. That, yeah, he had to, and he was doing life, and but that's what he was doing, and I'm like, wow, man, I really been through some things, and it's crazy because throughout this journey, I kind of knew like, okay, yeah, the life I'm living ain't the best, but I'm like, this is a season, and I was young, and I knew it was just a season. Like and that's always been my thing to people that I know now. I see now. I'll be like, man, when you going through some things, it's just a season. You know what I'm saying? It ain't permanent. It ain't like something you gotta like feel like your life in the shambles and you stuck and like no, this just a season. It's just a storm, and just like the weather change, your
See,
situation change.
yeah, sure, bro.
So,
That's crazy. How long was it before you found out that he was doing this?
so
Like, had he got
I
anybody
so what's
in,
crazy
full body
was
in?
yeah, yeah. So what's crazy was this. So I'll just give you a background. I had five step siblings. My pops on that
Okay.
side was a woman that had 5 kids. Two of them was guys. They were 17, and one was like 14. The one at 17 was the guy who had the bodies. He was like on the, he met them. They was like on the south side of St. Louis. They grew up kind of ruggish. Um, and the 14-year-old didn't have it. They didn't have their dad in their life. So the 14-year-old would just follow whatever his brother was doing. And
Yeah.
the three girls were older. So he see him smoking weed, he see him smoking, drinking, and doing whatever he's doing. He's following that suit. Like, that's secondhand nature to him. He's, oh yeah, I'm going to do that. You know what I'm saying? Because I see my big brother doing it. I don't have no father figure. I don't have no example. Social media ain't around just yet. We don't have people. We seeing the TV, and then I'm seeing my brother once I turn the TV off. So he's saying what he's seeing. He's just like, he's following that direction. So I didn't know about it. I didn't heard rumors like, yeah, you want to stay away from him. I'm not gonna give his name out there, but he's like, you want to stay away from him, cause he he don't play that. That was like his reputation in the street. Like, man, he don't play that. Like, hey, we heard about him. So I didn't heard about it, but I didn't know it was true until the police raided our house. That's when I
Mm.
knew, okay, yeah, this guy. That's when it solidified it because now, yeah, you getting booked now. You know what I'm saying? So seeing that, experiencing that, seeing that young, it was like, wow, like our house is on notice now because this situation just occurred. And then mind you, we still got the issue with the termites and rats still coming in the house. We still, yeah, it's tough. So we just like, but the stories, man, it's like the stories, the relationships, the bonds, the things that we didn't deal with, like leading up to this. I think it helped us get through those times. You know what I'm saying? Being with your siblings,
Yeah.
just yeah, yeah. You like, man, stories are endless when what you go through. People just see the bad things, and be like, man, it's bad. I don't know how you live. Like, yeah, it was horrible, but
Yeah.
man, you meet some of the realest people in those times, and you realize that you can't take those times for granted either. Times you are in your dark places, and you are meeting and seeing and building relationships, and you see who really with you when you're down. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? You build
Yeah.
those bonds up early. So yeah,
No, for
that was a
sure.
true. Yeah, it was tough, man. So yeah, getting through that, going through school. School was kind of tough. You know what I'm saying? I found out about my extended family. Which moms had found out pops through Facebook and things of that nature. So they had reconnected through Facebook, and we first met. It wasn't a good relationship just at first either because we kind of came in, and I was like, man, he kind of like overdoing himself right now. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like he coming in like yeah, I'm finna come in and be your pops right away, and we didn't get a chance to really bond just yet. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it was kind of like he came in, and when he came in
He came
like
in hot
yeah,
and
like,
heavy.
he came in hot and heavy. So when
Yeah.
I found out about it, I was like, man, I kind of want to slow down, and our relationship grew. You know what I'm saying over the time, and I'm glad we did. But we were best friends, so and we. And I will say this about him. Man, he spoke your talents up into existence prior to him passing, man. He was like, man, Brandon got a special talent. You know what I'm saying? He was like, man, he
Wow.
gifted, man. He naturally funny. I remember at the 50th birthday party, he was like, man, this guy's just funny. You know what I'm saying? You brought the energy that we all, seen. It was like, man, that's gonna be good. So now that the world can see it, that's amazing too. You know what I'm saying? So that's good.
Speaking of Tony, man, because I had your brother Anthony on here, and he talked about the impact that Tony had. We got to talking about him, and just really the impact that he had on my life. He was like a father figure to me. You know what I'm saying? Just coming up
Mm,
because I grew up without a father, obviously, and then he was just there because I was friends with Anthony, and man, he was Tony, man. He was a cool cat, cool dude. Never a dull, boring moment with him. And
mm,
he was just one of those guys where he just loved life and lived life to the fullest. And so the fact that you got to have a relationship with him before he passed, and that was just that was a blessing because there are certain people when you come across them, it's like, dang, like the energy's there, the vibe is there. And I know you mentioned that he was coming in hot and heavy, but I think just you getting to experience who he was
yeah,
as a person was just like a major true blessing. So let's talk about that for a minute.
yeah.
Because I talked to Anthony about how, his passing affected him. How did it affect you when he passed?
Oh man. Um, I was devastated. I mean, like I really I really was devastated. But then again, it was mixed emotions because I felt like I took no moment with him for granted. I felt like part of me still knew that he was with me. I feel like, all of us got our, our day, enter the heaven gates and, we leave this earth behind, we just passing through. And I'm like, man, everything that he instilled in us is in us,
Yeah,
and all those conversations, I never took it for granted. Man, I really cherished every moment when I had it with him. So I felt like I was okay with him being at rest. And I'm like, man, God still got him within me and I'm gonna be okay. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of just took that for the grain of salt, and man, I've been driving ever since. What I'll do is I would ask myself, what would he ask me in these situations when I'm going through some tough bumps in the road? Like since he been gone, I've been asking myself like, hey, what would he do right here, or what would he say right here? And I know based off of the countless conversations him and I had that pretty much what he'll say, or some of the little remarks and stuff he would say whenever when I do come across things like that. You know what I'm saying? So I kind
yeah.
of just be like, man, I know what he'll tell me right now. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause he's still in me. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I look at it, and I try to be strong. Now I will tell you this one though. Tonio was a little bit different. Now
Uh,
Tonio was a little bit different. Him and I, brothers. Tone was different for sure. That one was different. But what I stuck with and I gained from that situation is he had a little saying, and I use this as my brand now as who I am. He would say, "Get in mode." Get in
mm,
mode is like his go-to. That would be like that's his bread and butter, man. Get in mode. And that's what he was saying. That was like our little insider. We would be like, man, it's time to get in mode. It don't matter what you're doing. You could be you can be like making the food the wrong way, man. Hey, that ain't mode, bro. Like lock in. Cook something better. Like, you know what I'm saying? So our mentality just with any and everything is like get in mode, and that's why I kind of carry that mentality. And whenever I'm slacking, I automatically get myself back in that mode. Like, hey, I gotta get in mode. Tone want me to get in mode right now. So yeah, it's just that's how I carry myself from here on out. It's just like, hey, bro, I gotta get in mode. I gotta stay focused. It's just really being the best version of yourself. When you in that mode, it ain't no stopping you. Everybody got a different mode they tap into and they going.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
For sure, most definitely. So, talk to me a little bit about where you are today, because obviously those struggles that you went through, the things that you persevered through, you kind of overcome those things to where you are right now. So, you said you're an engineer,
Yep.
you're a real estate investor. Tell me a little bit about how all that's just coming in. Like, how is that a part of your vision right now? Like, what are you doing? And kind of tell me what kind of vision you have for where you see yourself, 5 years from today.
So it ties into just the whole who I am, right? Like, I feel like the real estate investing and buying properties and stuff is just building an empire. I want to
Love
be
it.
financially stable. I want to be able to, when I have kids and get married, have kids, of course, I want to be able to already have them set up. By the age of 18, I want to be able to hand over these properties to them. Like, hey, these paid off already. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So they're going through less of a struggle than what I had to go through and endure. And they come in, hey, yeah, Pops had us 5 or 10 properties already. You know what I'm saying? And now they're able to kind of, not gonna say shortcut life, but allow them to focus on the skills and the other things that they can be focusing on, whether finances. I think in America it's just like, man, you just see how people are just everything's transactional. You see like everything is just money, 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 and I feel like we don't spend enough time with family. We're not getting enough time. These other coaches are getting that we're not able to get. You know what I'm saying? Because everything is so transactional. So I feel like being able to set up financially, that's the whole purpose of, I use the money I get from being an engineer and say, hey, look, let me go dump this into some real estate. Let me go dump this so I can be able to live off the passive income, of course, pay down these properties and live free and eventually, you know what I'm saying? And then be able to travel and, live a little bit more comfortable than I ever was.
No, I love it, bro. And I
Yeah,
see you doing your thing. And I look on your IG, I see you was just recently in Jamaica, right?
absolutely. Yeah, yeah. I just made a
Yeah,
move
yeah.
up.
I living life to the fullest, man. That's what it's
Yeah, you
to
got to.
be. Yeah, no, to be in a situation where you bouncing from house to house, the environment, and now you just working, getting money, traveling. You really
Yeah,
doing your thing, man. And I can see it. I can see the grind in you, man. And um, it's definitely a true blessing. But it's also I see that you putting in the work too. You're not just taking it for granted.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
absolutely. And that's another thing. I think like the people that I was around, like man, they like man, you can be doing X, Y, Z. I'm like man, look, I say my only, uh, what do you call it? Like you know how people got these bad habits? I said my only bad habits is I'll book flights. You know, I'll go pay for an experience. I don't have like no drug addictions or anything like that. But I said, man, I'll spend a time and go catch a flight and go see a different vibe for a second. You know, get away
For
from.
sure.
But yeah, other than that, man, it's like yeah, definitely invest and save your money and try to do what you can when you are in a good position because you never know when life might life as we say. You know, life will life. So you
There
got to
we
be
go.
ready for some
Yeah.
rainy days. You gonna go through some bumps. You gotta understand that you gotta be prepared for, or at least be the saying stay ready. So you ain't got to get ready or whatever. That's kind of the mindset
Absolutely.
you have. Yeah.
Are you still bouncing back and forth between St. Louis and Houston?
No. Now I'm in Chicago. So yeah,
Okay.
I got a loft in Chicago, but I'm renting my place out of Houston. So got a house in Houston. I got property in St. Louis. I just actually bought some stuff out there. So I'm actually looking to build an apartment complex out there. So yeah, yeah, yeah,
Ooh.
that's yeah. I'm really
Now, is your
trying
mom
to.
still? Is your mom still?
Yeah, yeah. So moms don't live like we probably like 45 to an hour away from each other. Cause I live downtown Houston. I bought the house downtown Houston. She live like in the suburbs. So it takes a while to get back and forth from her for me to, to go to see her and everything. But yeah, man,
Okay.
it's yeah, yeah. When I'm in the Lou, I try to travel a lot to go back and forth. Obviously, I gotta check on the property. Uh, when I
Sure.
do go back and forth and everything like that. But yeah, other than that, man, it's I try to keep things co-aesthetic, simple. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Simplicity is everything right now.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I don't know if you know, but I had lived in St. Louis for 2 years. I moved there in 2016. It was for work,
Wow.
and I was out there for 2 years, and I'm like, it wasn't. You know what I'm saying? And I stuck it out as long as I could. I did meet some good people,
Yeah.
but I knew that St. Louis was just going to be a temporary thing for me. I knew I wasn't going to last there long. And then finally, what happened was I was at a day party at Ballpark Village. I never
Mm.
forget, bro. I was at a day party at Ballpark Village, and all of a sudden there was a shooting. And what ended up happening was I looked up, so everybody got down, and when we got up, I saw the dude that was laid out that had got shot, and he was just laying on the floor. It was about 10 feet from me, and
Wow.
so we all running out of there. And I kid you not, bro. Like soon as I got home, I called my mom because my mom was living in Texas at the time. I called my mom and I was like, "Mom, I'm coming back. I can't do it, y'all. I'm coming back." And
Yeah, G.
literally, probably about a couple months later, I was back in Texas. And
Wow.
so, you know, yeah, yeah. So I did build some friendships out there, but at the same time, I was like, nah, it's a little bit too reckless out here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's no better
So I got
than
up out of there.
Chicago. It's no better than Chicago, man.
I know.
And then it's worse. I feel like it's worse in a sense because it's like less opportunities. It's nothing to do. Like you say, man.
Yeah,
St. Louis. Hey, I don't like to talk negative on it, but hey, we gotta work that out. We gotta work it out. So yeah, the point of me like going out there and invest is like, man, I got a different vision for that city. I'm hoping to buy some of those properties up that's out there and change the narrative. You know what I'm saying? We got to get some more black ownership out there, black home ownership, black businesses, and just try to control that because, like you say, that city needs a lot of healing. You need
Yeah,
some healing for
yeah.
sure. You need some healing.
Sounds like, man, you've been through a lot of adversity in your life, man, and some of the stuff that you done talked about today, man, I couldn't even imagine going through all that, dog. I couldn't imagine it, big bro. But you overcame it, and I mean, you're here today to be able to kind of tell your story and really be a testimony, man, to some people, because I don't know a lot of people that probably would have been able to overcome all those situations and those obstacles. And
Absolutely.
so for you to be sitting here today talking to me about it is a real testament to just your character, who you are, and just the fight that you have inside you. You know what I'm saying? To be able to persevere through all that. You know what I'm
You know.
saying? So with that being said, let's say you're talking to the younger Jaylen who is facing adversity right now and they don't know how to navigate it or handle it.
Mhm.
Um, what is something or what is one piece of advice that you would give them to try to help them through their struggles? Something encouraging and motivating that they could take away and be like, you know what? I saw his story and I like what he was talking about. Maybe I can try to implement this in my life and see, if I can overcome it as well. What would you say?
First thing first, you obviously got to have a relationship with God. I think that's very important. Just making sure you still, although you dealing with the day to day life, obviously that's your escape to get closer to Him. And then understand that there's um always, after a storm, like we say, it's always gonna be, sunny at some point, right? The storm comes in, and then it'll be
Yeah,
there for a second, but it's not forever. So I say that enjoy. Well, find something. Uh, a lesson in that story. Like within that story or whatever you're dealing with, it's always a lesson or it's always some type of something you can take away from that. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah,
I know for a
for
fact
sure.
I'm not going to do this. You know what I'm saying? People that grew up without, a father figure, they see their father figure treated their mom a certain way. They know for a fact, hey, I'm not going to do this. So it's just like certain key takeaways that you will take away and you will take to that next level with your life. So you don't experience that.
I think you nailed it. I think, like you said, your relationship with God has to be strong because, like, who else is going to help you get through it? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you got family, you got friends, but in those moments where you just sitting in the trenches all by yourself, like you in your room laying in the bed at night, or you just on some solo dolo type stuff, who is going to be that person that's going to help you get through it when you are by yourself and you have really like it's just you? And in that moment, man, it's going to be God that's going to help you get through it. You know what I'm saying? And He's the only one that can really really transform you and transform your mind and your heart to be like, okay, you know what? I can overcome this. And He's going to get you through it. Or He's going to sit with you in the trenches while you go through it. Either way, He's
Absolutely.
not going to leave you. So you know at some point, like He's the person that's going to have your back through it all, you know?
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. Yeah, yeah, when I was going through them, I was reading the Bible every day. I don't know if I mentioned that or not, but I was reading the Bible every day. I was literally getting closer to God every day. Like, obviously I'm seeing all these different things going on. I'm like, you know what? It's just a storm. In my head, I'm just like,
yeah,
it's just a storm, right? It's gonna be sunny. It's gonna be sunny real soon. It's just a season. Hot water out.
yeah,
We boiling water on the stove just so we can, make it happen. I'm like, all right, it's just a season. This ain't forever. And yeah, you can
yeah.
easily feel like, back against the wall and I'm not gonna, recover from this. But man, continue to keep your faith high. You know, continue to just believe, and then find that lesson within that storm because you gotta find out whatever you're going through is always a lesson in your storm. There's always something you can take from it and be like, okay, I took away from this. Yeah, I'm not gonna let this happen ever again, or this is the beauty that I found out while going through this struggle. You know what I'm saying?
No, for
So
sure.
yeah, that's the biggest advice I give someone.
Man, so appreciate that. Man, this was good, bro. This was
Yeah,
good, man. I thank you for coming on and just giving your story, man. And obviously, I've been knowing you. I haven't been knowing you as long as Anthony and Jeremiah, but I've been knowing you a couple years now, and just a real stand up, solid dude. And obviously, I would have had no idea that you went through some of the obstacles that you went through, and so really, it just it makes me have more respect and admiration for you. Just how, like I said, you're here today to be able to talk about those things and how you overcame those things to be the person that you are today. And the train gonna continue moving forward. You're gonna continue to move forward. You're gonna get better and better, and
Hmm.
life is gonna get better for you. And you just gonna continue to um, be more of a testimony as you continue to go through life and be, and just not look like what you've been through. You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying?
Yeah, because I
So
mean, I think even today, like you're still gonna have obstacles and challenges and things that
for
it
sure.
might not be as rigorous as things that you went through in your past, but you're gonna still have some course, and that's why I say take those lessons into your next, your next course or your next obstacle. You gotta be able to take lessons from your previous storms into your next
Hmm.
chapter of your life and use that to get through, get through and help you out. Like, okay, yeah, I've been through some things before, and that's gonna allow you to, be like, hey, man, I know I can get through anything.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure,
So,
for sure. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Again, thanks for stopping by and giving your story. Really appreciate your perspective. Really appreciate you coming on the episode. Make sure y'all following us on IG where we post reels from the episodes. And if you can't follow us on IG, make sure you are listening to us wherever you get your podcast at Flip That Switch. So you can either watch us on YouTube or you can listen to the audio version of our episodes as well. Either way, just make sure you tap in with us. Also, if you have a story that you want to tell, you want to get on the show, I'd be love to talk to you about your story and get you on the show so we can get your story out. Because at the end of the day, we know that these stories obviously aren't just for us. They're to help other people and inspire other people to maybe try to navigate things differently than you did, or just to help someone who's currently going through the situation. So if that's you, make sure you hit me in the comments and let me know that, you'd like to be a guest on the Flip That Switch podcast. But other than that, Jaylen, appreciate you, my boy. Thanks for coming on.
that's a
And
pleasure.
yeah, for sure, man.
So we'll definitely connect soon, bro. When I'm in Texas, bro, be out there
No,
soon.
oh no, for sure. Yeah, yeah. If you come to Dallas, man, let me know. Even if you come to H Town and we might have to make a little trip out there, let me know. We'll
I
pull
got
up.
you.
It's only a 3 hour drive. So,
Okay, that
all
works.
right.
All right,
All right,
bro.
man. Well, we gonna see y'all in the next episode and we out. Peace.
Peace, bro.